All right, how's it going today, guys? Happy Monday. Shout out to everyone joining the stream. If this is your first stream, shout out to you guys joining in as well. The way that I like to run these VIP live streams, guys, is I like to go back and forth between the chat, see what you guys are saying, and then also jump back to my analysis. That's why if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Shoot it off over in the chat box and then we can get them answered. I had somebody message me a question over DMs and, wanted me to touch on a little bit of something during this live stream. And so I'm going to do so for him. So if you guys need me to clarify anything, please just let me know and we can go over it on live stream. I could send you a little video, send you a screenshot, talk to you guys about it, whatever. Don't be afraid to reach out to me over on Telegram or x.com. Both handles are Castillo Trading. Getting on to updating this, right? So let's just kind of get rid of some of these levels, right? So we can get rid of these. I do want to keep these longs. I do want to keep this whole setup going just so that we can continue to have this in place for the future. So this was our most recent and current long position. Now we do have some NPOC prints lower down at that 39 and 40K, 38K area. And again, the plan stays the same. If we do drop, I think we did have a little bit of a long entry down in there as well. So if it does continue to drop, guys, again, not going to get continually bearish on anything, just going to stick to the setups. We've been wanting to long that level since 12.4, just like we've been wanting to long this level since 12.5. We've had a lot of impulse moves higher. We've had a lot of kind of that short consolidation to next leg higher. And that's currently what's kind of been working, right? Is just kind of longing anything. And so for now, this dip has been good, guys. I think that it's healthy. The correction is healthy. We can kind of get into some higher term time frames as well when it comes to BTC as far as our chop zone goes. And it just goes to show, like, we don't navigate these chop zones out for no reason. Like, once we started digging into chop zone 1, it started to chop. And I think the same thing is going to happen when we start digging into this chop zone number 2. It's gonna continue to chop. The easy mode is kind of over in my opinion. I think that, we still have some room to go higher to like 48K, 45K potentially, but I do think that just kind of longing any sort of dip, longing anything, was kind of printing for everybody. And now I just think that it's going to get a little bit more difficult. And again, this is what we like, right? If we could just range within this area for maybe the first couple of months into 2024, I think that that just offers so much more room for upside from the entire market, right? Because if BTC continues to go up, it kind of deflates everything else. It doesn't deflate it, but a lot of people kind of jump ship and kind of chase that. So when BTC kind of starts to chop at its highs, that's kind of when Ethereum will catch up, some altcoins will catch up, DEX plays. Again, I do think a lot of things are a little bit overextended right now. So, take it what it is for a grain of salt. I just think for now, BTC needs to hold specific levels. Like we got to hold 40K in my opinion, if we want to continue this move higher. And right now we're kind of just retesting that area. Again, no harm, no foul. It's a support area, and a support area is not something that you want to short into. You kind of want to look to long support area, and having our setups, it kind of shows that this is something that, we are willing to long. Ethereum, let's get into Ethereum here now, guys. So looking at the NPOC levels, Ethereum is kind of dropping into those NPOC levels as well that we wanted to long. And again, this is kind of why I didn't like long exactly at 2161, because this is kind of like an area, right? Is because I still think that Ethereum could drop down to this 2037 area. I think somebody had mentioned that, right? So I have single prints based off TPO on 2050, 2070 on MEXC chart. You basically just said that 2100, if we lose 2100, we'll be in trouble. It doesn't mean that we'll be in trouble, but I just think that that is an area that needs to hold, right? So if we do drop down to this area, I think it needs to be a quick reaction. If it's not a quick reaction, and let's just say we start to slow down a little bit below 2100, something like this, well, then maybe a retest of this area is actually going to be a good short entry, but we won't know until price starts to get there, right? So we'll kind of have to follow that. Obviously, I think that it's a decent setup right now for a dip buy, as I did long based off of setups, off NPOCs and current ranges and that sort of thing, but that can change very, very quickly based off of 1 4-hour candle. So you got to flow like water, you got to change, and things sometimes happen. And so NPOC level is kind of a little bit of a rant there. NPOC level still looking, we're kind of in a long. The next area of interest to short is still the same for me. I'm not going to short, but next area of interest to short is still this area for me, guys. I just think that this is the type of area that I'm looking to short into next. That's pretty much it on ETH, I would say. It's very straightforward, right? And then we can talk about the high term time frame, right? So this is why I talk about 2100. It's not really a make or break area. If we dip below, it's fine, but it needs to be a quick reaction out. Like if you have a significant candle close, like a 4-hour or a 1-day close below here, then that's when we can kind of look into a little bit of trouble. And maybe, this is just kind of a deviation outside of resistance, and then we get acceptance back down and we can look for lower. But again, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen right now. I just think if we drop below 2100 and we stay below 2100, this is a very obvious scenario in my opinion where we get that deviation below and we can look for lower. But again, not going to really significantly plan that yet because we're still at support. And so for me, support is still support. 2100 is support. It's a very obvious level right here. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, break above. You know, you got to think it's been such a heavy resistance level for so long. We finally get that break above. A retest of it makes sense. It's that RS flip, that resistance turned to support. And again, those high term time frame targets on Ethereum is the golden pocket Fibonacci as well. You know, it's that 2400, 2500 area. So again, I do think that there's a little bit of risk when it comes to longing some of these areas, but I do think that Ethereum offers a better risk reward. We've talked about this before. You know, this is kind of that area that ETH has broken out of, and it hasn't really put in very much. I think it's only like a 7% to the upside. Again, I put a tweet out, but we'll just do it really quick for you guys. You know, since it broke out of that resistance, it's been about 11% move to the upside. And if we go to BTC, looking at that same resistance level ish would be that 30K, we've put in about 52% move to the upside. So again, I still think Ethereum has room to catch up. Just because we've seen a 10% wick to the downside on majors doesn't really change the fact that I still think that we can potentially run higher. And again, you know, if we do continue to drop here, all I know is that I'm still willing to add to my position. If Ethereum continues to drop and we kind of come back down to this wick, you know, I will continue to add to my position. There's no reason for me to not, just because it still is around that 2100 area where this low wick is. And again, the wick may vary based on exchange. This is the Coinbase wick. BitMEX might be different than Bybit, that sort of thing. But you know, the general idea stays the same regardless of what exchange you're using. So Sol, I mean, lo and behold, okay, so this is a good example too on Sol. But this is why I like current ranges, right? Because I think that they can offer extensions higher, can offer decent support bounces. So this was our current range on Sol that we were watching, where we had a high and then we had some lows, and you know, we were looking for a little bit of a retest of this lower limit, but we really got two of them. And so Sol was so strong, I didn't expect it to kind of come back another time, but we got this impulse move out above upper limit, right? So with that being said, that just shows, since we know that this was an important point at one time, you know, this is a decent support area in my opinion to kind of be longing Sol again. And again, you can extend this, right? You know, this is just a good example of showing, like, you know, this was once a low term time frame current range. We got an extension outside, retest, and this is a support level now, because it's kind of like that whole resistance turn to support and then that retest of that area. But on Sol, yeah, I would just say it's a decent buyer. We can also extend this up here, extension higher, and lo and behold, if you extend it higher, where did we bounce off of? Boom, a perfect median ML retest to potential move higher. So I do like Sol. I think it's a good bid, as well as Ethereum is. You know, my theory doesn't really change across the board. If it's Sol, if it's INJ, you know, everything is still a decent bid after a 10% move to the downside during this type of market. But I hope you guys have a great trading week. You know, I will be in the Telegram with you guys after this into tomorrow. We still have the video series for Wednesday and Friday. You know, Saturday, we're not going to be doing as much anymore, but you know, at the end of the day, I am still very happy that you guys are involved with Trade with Castillo VIP, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Peace.